Ours was a phase 2 trial. We recruited 29 individuals, mostly from the NYU Clinical Cancer Center. At first, the trial was for people that had terminal illness, terminal cancer, but we soon realized you could have psychological distress at any stage of cancer. You didn't have to be terminal, including being in remission. Patients could still have enormous distress. So we broadened the criteria over time to include people that could have any stage of cancer as long as they had a considerable and clinically significant amount of anxiety or depression. So we recruited 29 individuals. Each participant got randomized either to get 1 dose of psilocybin or 1 dose of the control niacin. It was a 9-month duration trial, and this was not a pure pharmacologic study. Our model was medication-assisted psychotherapy. So there was a lot of the drug being embedded within psychotherapy. There was preparatory psychotherapy, where we reviewed their life in its entirety and all of the good things and bad things that had happened, and relationships, etc. We then reviewed the narrative of cancer, and in particular focused on how cancer had become so distressing. There's a very significant percentage of cancer patients that when they get the diagnosis have a really bad reaction. They can become completely demoralized, they have existential distress. It's a kind of spiritual crisis. They become depressed and anxious, they have a hastened desire to want to be dead. Really sort of pathologic construct. These are the patients we were looking to help. The preparatory psychotherapy, in addition, gets patients ready for the dosing sessions. These are really unique dosing sessions. They take place in a clinical laboratory setting, but we've made the dosing room into like a living room-like setting with a beautiful couch and flowers, and everything takes place there.
The dosing day lasted about 5 or 6 hours. Now, sometimes there were periods of anxiety. For example, imagining one's death, something which most of us have a great deal of difficulty doing. Imagining death being alone and cold underneath the ground. And if these images came up for the individual, our invitation to them was to lean into it, to focus on it, to say, what do I need to learn? What are you trying to show me? How can I open myself to this fear and let it heal me, let it show something to me, let it teach me? And it was so inspiring. Again and again, we saw people who were anxious during part of their journey who reported that what they saw was beautiful, inspiring, revelatory, spiritual, sacred, important, and that the fact that anxiety accompanied was not the most important thing, and that bearing the anxiety was in some ways like a sign of how intense and important it was.
Psilocybin and related compounds have this incredible capacity to fairly reliably, in a supportive setting, activate or generate what's called a mystical experience. It's a scientific scale gleaned from naturally occurring experiences that have been coming throughout millennia in terms of this phenomena. It appears humans are wired for meaning. If you look at the foundations of the major religions, there's this kind of mystic core that it's called. Aldous Huxley called it the perennial philosophy, this mystic core, this common ground of religion, where this experience of sacredness, sense of unity, a sense of interconnectedness to all things, a sense which is very powerful of transcendence, of transcending time and space in our current, this consensus reality, profoundly positive moods. Those are all criteria throughout millennia of the mystical experience, and documented throughout the ages by mystics and saints and poets and contemporary society.
We cannot definitively say that psilocybin yet works for this patient population who are experiencing anxiety and depression. We need a larger phase 3 trial to definitively establish that. That would be around 200 to 300 individuals. It would be a major multi-center trial. If this could become part of the treatment algorithm, it would be great. Even better, we need to improve all of the other psychological and existential care of cancer patients. We need to identify their distress more and treat it more already with things that we know work. I think that has to happen first and is a bigger deal. I think this ultimately could become a very important part of the treatment of cancer patients and dying patients. And not necessarily just cancer. We don't think that cancer is unique in terms of end-of-life distress. It could be applied to all kinds of medical disorders where someone is suffering from end-of-life distress.